Hi, Oviya, how are you?
Hi, very well, very well. How are you? How's
All
everything
good.
going?
So far, so good. That's all what we can say.
Yeah, as well as one can be in these times.
True. So,
Uh,
how was or how has lockdown 2 been for you?
Amusing, entertaining, to say the least.
Okay.
Uh, but I think being an only kid, I mean, I've always found creative ways to, amuse myself and sort of fascinate myself. So I think lockdown 2 was also one of that. Came up, made, I mean, turned the house into basically mini golf on a budget. Uh, Broke a few mirrors, got my ass kicked by my parents, all that. Uh,
Okay. So, I'm very curious to know about this obstacle course that you set up in your home. So, what kind of led to it?
okay, so I mean, it kind of started as more like a 2-year-old mentality where, I got a new toy and I need to play with it. And the new toy in this case being my putter, because I've been meaning to change it for quite some time and I finally got around to it. And but the putter showed up, I think, a little ways into lockdown. And for the first couple of days, I was really bummed that I couldn't use it, that I was like, oh no, there's no golf course, nothing to do. But I think, you know, a couple of days later, like one of my sleepless nights, I was like, okay, maybe I don't need a golf course. Maybe I can do this at home. So that, in my case, was putting out a yoga mat and then, setting up like these two little dumbbells as wide as like probably a hole and just making these little 6-footers. But I got bored of just 6-footers. So then I said
Hmm.
I wanted to go longer. So I started putting from one end of the room to the other end of the room. One of those, I think I was just fooling around and I ended up mishitting one of my putts pretty badly, which then actually ricocheted off the wall and went through my makeshift hole, call it that.
Hmm.
Then that's where I was like, okay, maybe I don't need to restrict myself to just making these straightforward putts. Maybe I can, you know, do some trick shots with this because I mean, it was getting pretty boring and I did want to take the putter out. So I started going around the house, started putting from upstairs to downstairs, from inside to outside. I was putting from room to room. I started doing all of that. Then I got bored of my putter. So I was like, okay, let me pull out wedges and see what I can do with that, which then led to sort of putting a bucket out of my back porch and just trying to chip slam dunks into those buckets. In the process, I broke a couple. So then I got bored of just doing that. So I have this little mat that I got during lockdown 1 that I was using to
Hmm.
hit balls into a net. So I then took that inside the house because we did have some rains and stuff. So I started hitting flop shots over dining tables, bump and runs through furnitures and sofas. And then once I got bored with my wedges, I basically took out every club in the bag and tried to do something with it. But I don't know if it's I
Barring,
don't sorry.
barring your driver, I guess. Barring your driver, I guess.
No, I used that too. I used it too. I
What all
touched
did you
every
break?
club in the bag. I have a crack on my mirror. A couple of glasses were broken. The glass off the dining table was broken. I chipped a couple of walls off. My
Hmm.
parents don't know everything, but you
Now
know,
they will.
yeah. Now they will. Now they will. I just shot myself in the foot. Now they will.
Okay. Okay. So, well, of course, primarily, I guess it was to break the monotony that
True. It
you
was fueled by
you did
boredom.
this.
Yeah.
But on a serious note, do you think it kind of helped you in any way?
I I mean, I haven't really taken it out on the course and put it to test. I've just been fooling around on the range. So I don't really know if it's helped, but it did make it a lot more fun for me. So when I do go back to the course, I feel like I would look at things from a different perspective now that I've done this at home. I wouldn't just be
Hmm.
looking at it from one angle. I can maybe look at it through another way. Maybe I don't. maybe what I'm seeing is just not the only option for a shot. So maybe that way it might have helped, though I don't know if my skills are any better because this is like purely fueled out of boredom, just literally boredom.
No, but you never know. I mean, once you're back
True,
on the golf course, you might
true.
find yourself armed with fresh perspective.
I'd be extra glad if that's what it came down to.
Hmm. But are you able to step out and go to the golf course
Yeah,
now?
but
How's the situation there?
it is. We opened up, I think, about a week and a half ago, maybe 10 days
Oh,
ish. Yeah. Um, but there are quite a bit of restrictions. So, I mean, they only have a couple of slots that you can do to go out and stuff. And obviously, if the range is crowded, you can only hit like fifty or so balls. So there's
hmm.
a lot of restrictions, but we are open. We're back up and running, and I'm glad. Uh,
Right.
but it's good to be back, I guess, just to go and be in that atmosphere, if you want to call it that.
Right, of course. But Cosmo is your home club.
Yeah,
What are the other options that you have in Chennai?
we have Madras Gymkhana,
Okay.
which is within the race course, which I guess is a little similar to Mysore.
Hmm.
Uh, so we have that. The range there is like unbelievable because no one really goes there. It's kind of
Hmm.
deserted and empty, so you can just go out, fool around, have fun, that kind of thing. So we have that. I mean, but these are the only two courses that we can use. I mean, the army courses are there, but I don't
Hmm.
think we as public can use it. So
All right. So 2019, rather end of 2019, you turned professional,
correct.
knowing little that within a couple of months everybody would be scurrying indoors because of
I
the
did.
lockdown. So how do you, looking back, how do you see it? I mean, has it been a frustrating phase, tournaments happening in fits and starts, or you kind of used it as an opportunity to kind of introspect whatever little you got to play?
I think it was a little bit of both. You know, just
Hmm.
getting on tour and playing that amidst the situation itself was a privilege. And I'm really glad that, the tour did such a good job of putting it together and, making sure that we're all safe with the COVID
Hmm.
tests and all of that. But it does get frustrating because, we're almost always traveling. So just being stuck at home for such an extended period of time was a big shock to the system. At least for me, I don't know about, I mean, I can't speak for the others, but
Hmm.
for me, it was. So initially, it was very frustrating, not being able to play any golf, not being able to do like normalcy was completely shattered. But I think once I came to terms with it, it started getting better where I started looking at things from a better perspective. I handled it a lot better. Like I said, mini golf at home. So, I guess you just learn, you just adapt, you learn, which then, I mean, I learned a lot about myself in the process because I don't think I've ever had this much time to just be
Hmm.
by myself and plus spend time with the family. I mean, spending all that time with family for such a long time in so many years was actually really nice. So,
Hmm.
I mean, it had its ups and downs, it had its pros and cons, but I just hope we can get out of it sooner.
Right. But I suddenly remembered that mini golf concept that you came up with. That kind of goes with your motto of gravitating towards golf like electrons to a nucleus. That is what you had said.
Quote unquote. Yes, literally, literally.
So
Amazing.
on the lighter side, what else did you try out apart from mini golf?
I mean, this is probably very embarrassing, but I tried cooking. Uh,
Lot of the pros took up cooking.
I think everybody during lockdown took up cooking at some
Hmm.
point. Like, and
Yes.
I took it up this time. Wasn't very successful.
Hmm.
I mean, I almost burned the house down multiple times. But I did try my hand out at some of the fancier stuff, and some of my very willing, very sweet friends offered. to be like, let me try it, let me taste it. So I sent it to them. Very, very mediocre. I'm just glad that I didn't food poison them, that they were fine at the end of it. But I mean, they were too nice. They're like, according to them, I'm like the best chef in the world now. So, but
So
no, it
maybe
was pretty bad.
you can keep trying.
No, I would rather not. I want a roof over my head, but and with the way that I'm going, doesn't look very promising.
Right. And what about music? A lot of
Oh
people
yeah.
sought refuge in music.
Same with me, but music has always been a huge part of my life, like from
Okay.
when I was very little, and it was always an escape for me. It was the only thing that allowed me to completely sort of switch off, I guess, if you want to call it that. And second only to that would probably be reading. So this lockdown, I spent, I think, almost every waking minute with some music or the other. There was music playing at home 24 by 7. I then resurrected my iPod from over a decade and a half ago, I guess. I think a decade maybe. I think I got it when I was 6. So it's probably 14 years now. And it worked. It worked. So
Oh,
we went back to throwback music, and my dad was overjoyed because when I was little, he was the one that got me into it. So it was all of his music, all these pretty old rock. There was a lot of Venga Boys, a lot of Backstreet Boys, and all that. So we
okay.
basically dance partied our way through for I think almost 2 weeks at home, pretty much every day, every day. Got some of my friends hooked onto it. So there's been a lot of music happening. And I mean, I'm
Hmm.
sure my neighbors are pissed with me, but
Oh,
I
that's
mean, I
okay.
never know. They might be dancing too, but you know.
Well, everybody indoors, some good music or rather some good loud music isn't always objectionable.
True, agreed. But it was
So,
good music. So I feel like they would have been able to relate.
right. So coming back to this mini golf thing, what was the kind of area that you kind of gave yourself?
Home, just basically every room in the house. Every room in the house.
Okay.
So we have pretty high ceilings as well. So I was in a position to hit some flop shots too. Not that it
Hmm.
ended very well, but I did it anyway. So for me, at least, I had the added element of danger or risk to it because I didn't have ping pong balls or foam balls. I was flat out using regular golf balls.
Hmm.
So if it went wrong, then I was done for, basically. So I think there were a couple of times where I even chipped from downstairs to the first floor, just put a bucket out there and just tried hitting these high shots into it. I chipped from upstairs to downstairs. Um, I tried, I don't know, I think I tried all sorts of shit. I was trying to chip onto the car. There were a lot of weird things that I did. A lot of
Okay.
weird stuff.
So now at least you can claim to have better control.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. I think as it got better, I started breaking lesser things. So I know there's been progress. There's been progress.
So, so I'm sure that's going to help once you're back on the course.
I hope so. I hope. I feel like it will. I hope. I hope that it does. But yeah.
Hmm. But you're still in the process of completing your studies, and
Yeah.
a couple of events have been, as you mentioned earlier, writing exams after every round. So that balancing act, how has it been?
Very stressful to say the least. Because it's not easy to, I guess, play 6 hours of golf, come back, take an
Hmm.
exam for 3 hours. I mean, changing from this mentality to that mentality is very different. And because of COVID, I guess this is a pretty unique scenario where I don't think, like in normal life, we'd be doing it. But it was, but I had a lot of help. Like I had a lot of friends from college who gave me notes and made sure that I had everything I needed to get it done. So I think that way it took some of the stress off where I was able to do it. And I mean, college also helped out a little bit by giving me a couple of extra minutes for, submitting and stuff like that. But stressful to say the least, because I think I was writing exams from December, and there was some exam or the other all the way up to Feb end, and our event started up in Jan. So I think for the first four events of this season, I was exams, golf, exams, golf. It was the only two things that was happening. That by the time March rolled around, I was ready for a vacation. I was ready to just drop everything and just probably fly to Ibiza and just shut everything off. But but I mean, I guess that was an experience in its own self, and it taught me a lot that okay, I can balance this because I have been doing this in school because I did science in school, and that was not easy either with practicals and the traveling and with all of that. So I guess that sort of prepared me for this scenario in a way. And it worked out okay. I cleared all of my papers. I didn't do too badly, I'd like to think, for those events. But yeah, it worked
Right.
out all right. It worked out okay.
Okay. So you studying to be a lawyer. So looking ahead, how do you see yourself? Is the law degree going to be plan B? Golf is going to be uppermost, or how is it going to be?
Law is plan B, for sure. For sure. But that was a decision that we took only after I joined law, unfortunately. Uh, but law is plan B. Law is plan B. Golf is going to be plan A through and through. Um, because for me, I think at least for me, it was because it was always split between medicine and law, and law attracted me more than medicine because my parents were big on academics and they said, we're not skimping on this. Like, we need you to have a degree no matter what it is. Because, I mean, look, it's a one in a million thing when you're doing things like sports. One injury could take you out. So there always has to be a plan B. So in my case, it's just law is plan B. And because I like it so much, I guess it's not as hard to balance it because it's a fun subject to read on and study and just get into because it's an ocean. And also that I can do it while I'm traveling. I mean, I'm not required to be present because all the textbooks are super fun to read. They're multi-purpose as well. They
No,
double
I
as
guess
weights.
if the subject is to your liking, I think it makes
Yeah,
the task easier.
easier. Correct. Correct. A
Uh,
lot easier.
so, uh, right, true. So, but whatever little I know of law and the law books, they're pretty fat. So I think they would
they're
have doubled.
they're heavy. They're very heavy. And yeah, they
Uh,
did they
so they
did
would,
double as weights and stuff for me.
so that would have helped you with your fitness also.
Oh, yes, they made me extremely strong, to say the least. No, I weighed out my books, I think, for this semester or last semester or something. I put like five subjects together and it came up, if I'm not wrong, I think it came up to about 8 kilos or 7 kilos, which was
Okay.
heavy. So uh initially we decided, okay, my trainer and I were like, okay, maybe we can college textbooks can be the new weights. But then we needed heavier weights, so we ended up using a lot of bricks, which did the job. But I guess I learned that you can't come up with any excuse to train at home. I mean, you could literally use textbooks and get stronger. Like if you piled it up into a bag, I'm pretty sure you can like get out at least a minimum of 10 kilos.
So how did you do it? I mean, you put all the
In a bag,
books in a
in a
bag.
bag, in a bag. It was just like a little I want to say a duffel, but no, it was just a regular bag, and we just shoved everything in there. And we just used it as weights. We just picked it up and we squatted with it. We did all sorts of things with it. It worked. I mean, it worked.
So, but otherwise, you don't have regular weights at home, do
No,
you?
I don't. I don't. I just have this one set of 1 kilo dumbbells. Not that it's going to be of much help because I think that's what my mom was using a long time ago. So that's all I
Okay.
had. So we had to get creative with it because I mean we couldn't go to a gym. So we were just looking at like the next best option, which turned out to be college textbooks and bricks. And it did the job. I'm glad.
So, college textbooks and bricks.
Yeah, college textbooks and bricks. Very unconventional, but
So,
it gets the job done.
right. So, right now you have your classes online.
Yep, we've got classes going on, but right now we're on hold because I've got exams from next week. Literally, I think the coming Tuesday.
Okay.
We start on
All right.
Tuesday.
Okay. So, do you graduate this year itself or next year?
No, I graduate in 2 years.
In 2 years.
In 2 years, yeah. I'm going into fourth year now.
So
Two more years.
it's a hypothetical question. The final day of graduation and your first professional win. Rank the two, or rather the joy of the two chapters, if you can call that.
Oh, I guess, I mean, you can't put it on the same platform because graduating is a different kind of joy. Just being done with studying is a different kind of joy. And having your first professional win, which is like, I guess it's been a dream since I was little, is like a different kind of joy. But if I had to rank it, I would say probably my first professional win would come above. That would be the one taking it.
So how many events have you now? Have you completed 10 events on the WGI?
Ah, not in 1 year. I think in the course of a couple of years, I've completed 10, but not as one full calendar year. Because I think last year was
Of
six
course.
events, this year was 6 events. And right when I turned pro was, I think, 5 events, 5 or 6 events, if I'm not wrong.
So the most memorable week till date
On
on
tour,
tour.
for me, I gotta say the first event in Chennai to play at home was something else entirely. That was fun because I was also in contention. I was able to sleep on my own bed, which was unbelievable. Got home cooked
Hmm.
food, which made my tummy very happy. So I have to say Chennai. I have to say the event at home.
But golf-wise, was that a high point or any of
It
the
was. It was.
following weeks?
That was a high point. I think the immediate next week at BGC was also a high point because I ended up shooting my first Sapa round there. So I
Okay.
think I think that Feb month that year was pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So once one hopes that the tour will start in a couple of months' time, so have you given that a thought once you get back on the golf course, your goals, what do you want to pull off? Of
I
course,
think
everybody wants to win.
yeah, true. I was gonna say that.
Yeah.
Winning, that's probably number one. But I think I will just be happy to go out and play right now because of how uncertain everything is, just for the tour to restart. At least the domestic tour to restart. I think I just want to play some golf. I just want to compete first. But if you're looking at long term, obviously it's to, go Q school abroad. Hopefully next year. Next year, maybe the year after, hopefully. Assuming the COVID scenario settles down a little bit, and, where everything's a little freer and, safer, I guess, to travel. But for
Hmm.
right now, I think immediately it's just to go back and play some golf, some competition golf, where I think I'm missing it a little too much. I think the last we played was in March.
No, I guess it's a fallout of the present scenario that
Correct. True.
something these are things that we kind of tend to take for granted, that you wake up every morning, you know you have to go out and practice, or maybe if you have a tournament, go out and play. But
Correct.
now, uh, if you can call it the simple or the smaller joys of life, that is, I think, what these 15 months have taught us.
Taught us. True. Just don't take any day for granted. And I guess enjoy it. It did teach me to savor every moment in a way. Even if it was mini golf at home, it was golf in some sort. So it put the fun and the love of the sport back into it for me. So I guess it has worked out well enough. But just
So never mind the broken mirrors or whatever other damage you've done inside
there
the
was
house.
damage. There was damage.
But
Don't
I
try
guess
this at
this.
home, kids. Please don't. It's not good for you.
But the footnote is that you need to have cooperative parents.
Or unassuming parents. It could go either way. So for
Yeah.
me, it was a little bit of both. I think when they were not paying attention to me, I just, sneaked around a little behind their backs, tried some crazy stuff. But when they did find out, they were like, okay, she's working with what she's got, and they got in on it a little bit as well. They tried some stuff as well. So I think now it's like a family affair. If we play mini golf around the house, it'll be a family affair.
So I guess that's one of the
It worked
privileges
out,
of being
yeah.
of
Only
being
kid.
the only child,
Yeah.
child. Yeah.
Agreed. Agreed.
No, but
Agreed.
again, I think the way the why you got down to building this thing for you for yourself was, that eagerness to get back to
True.
normalcy.
Correct. True. In a way, because um, going that long without playing golf was very abnormal. It was very frustrating because if you're looking to turn this into a career and you're not able to do anything about it, it puts, I don't want to say fear, but a lot of uncertainty. So therefore, a lot of anxiety, at least for me. That's how it was. So I just wanted golf in any way, whether it was watching it,
Hmm.
playing it at home, whatever it may be, just golf in some way, in some form. It doesn't have to be the most straightforward way. So I just made it with what I had because I can't even put up a net at home because my house is in all shapes. There's not one proper square or rectangular room around. So even if I could get a net in, I there won't be enough space for the net and me to simultaneously exist. So I just had to. So for me, golf in any way, I would have taken it at home because we couldn't go out. It wasn't safe to go out. So mini golf at home was born.
So mini golf it is, and your law exams.
Yeah, mini
So
golf on a budget. Mini golf on a budget.
right. So when do you finish your exams?
Uh, 2 weeks. I finish
Oh,
on
okay.
August
So
6th, I
they are
guess.
kind of spaced out,
They are
the
spaced out. They are fairly
papers.
spaced out. Yeah, they're spaced out. We have some time in between to relax, maybe go play some golf, go to the gym. Now the gyms are open. Go back, start
Right.
training.
Right, Oviya. Thank you for taking time out,
Oh,
and
thank you for having me.
wish you all the very best for your exams. And
Thank you.
maybe we'll meet soon on the
Hopefully very
some
soon.
golf course very soon.
For sure. For sure. If
Take
not,
care,
fly down to
and
Chennai. I'll keep you entertained with mini golf at home.
right. Looking forward to that. And take care and stay safe.
You too. Right back at ya. I hope to
Take
see you
care.
soon.
Take
All
care.
right.
Bye bye.
See ya. Bye bye.
Bye.